O'clock on this Thursday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. The DeWitt County Animal Shelter has been in the spotlight in the last month as the search for a new administrator is ongoing, and the DeWitt County Board is recreating new positions as well. DeWitt County Board Chairperson Dan Matthews explains the leadership of the animal shelter will be reimagined. He feels they needed to revamp the staffing in order to give animals at the shelter proper care.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to talk about that. We've recently recreated the positions out there, having both a administrator, also a warden position, which we didn't have before, and we've created 2 part-time positions. So we feel that we needed to ramp up the staff out there. You know, animals need care Monday through Sunday, not Monday through Friday. And so we've always battled with how do we, take care of the animals on the weekend. So we would have 2 full-time people, and then we would have 2 part-timers who shared weekends, shared holidays, that work around 25 hours each. That way that work, every day the animals are getting the same care. Not that they weren't being cared for on the weekends, but, this will give us more opportunity to do that by having another person on, 2 more people on staff, sharing 50 hours a week.
According to Matthews, they've held interviews for the administrator role and feel they have a good potential candidate for that position.
Right now, we're trying to hire the administrator. We did some interviews this week. We had a pretty good candidate for now, but we also are taking additional applications, and we've already received more. So we're hoping to have all of those interviews done and have someone in place by September 1st. From there, then that person would look to hire the warden and then the part-timers that we would need to, be fully staffed. So right now, we're kind of running a limited shelter, I would say, meaning that we have a contractor who was already working for us before, is doing a lot of the work out there with the animals. And of course, Second Chance, like always, is doing a great job helping us, coming to the shelter, helping take care of the animals, working on foster and adoption for some of the dogs that are out there right now, some of the cats. So we're covering it well, but it doesn't allow us to do all of the things that we need to do with the municipalities and outside, as far as taking in strays, taking in surrenders, following up on we did have a bite case that's been a few weeks ago now. So the sheriff and the city of Clinton police are helping us out there. They're doing more of the calls right now than they would normally do, so that till we get staffed back up.
Matthews explains there is also work to be done in getting the county's ordinances in line with the municipalities they serve.
But when you talk about working directly with all the municipalities and matching their ordinances with ours and, intergovernmental agreements within our county, I think it's best that the county keeps that to best serve, everyone in our county, is that we continue to find a way to make the county responsible. There's so many rules and regulations and that you have to follow with, vaccinated animals and rabies and all of those kind of things. There's so much more to the job than I ever realized until the last couple of months, as we've tried to really follow all the rules and regs that we're supposed to. And we, when Holly was working for us, she was working very hard to do that. And we really have improved the shelter. We just now need to ramp up the staff out there and continue down that path.
For Matthews, the shelter should work and function best when you get the right people in positions and there's an understanding of everyone's role in the operation. He hopes the changes will allow for that to happen going forward. The Renewable Fuels Association is promoting the challenges of the industry, but also the current success stories. Jeff Cooper is the CEO of the Renewable Fuels Association, and at the Farm Progress Show, Indicator says the export market for ethanol is growing and helping the world reduce pollution.
We're seeing growth in exports, and there are markets around the world that are beginning to use ethanol today that really didn't use ethanol or didn't use much ethanol in the past. And they're all, they have many reasons for increasing their use of ethanol, but most of them are focused on, providing lower fuel costs for their consumers, but also reducing emissions, whether that's greenhouse gas emissions or tailpipe pollution, particulate matter and other pollutants that lead to, lung problems and heart disease and other things. So there's a lot of interest worldwide in increasing the use of ethanol. We see countries like India, dramatically increasing their use of ethanol as a way to help with pollution and air quality problems, but also as a way of lowering fuel costs for their consumers.
According to Cooper, the industry is perfectly capable of keeping up with the growing demand across the globe.
We absolutely can. We know that farmers are more and more efficient each and every year. We know what that yield trend looks like. We expect to see that growth continue. And so, farmers are going to continue to need new markets for corn moving forward. And our ethanol industry is ready to, meet increased demand for ethanol as well. We have about 200 ethanol plants across the U.S. Today, we're producing at a rate of about 15.5 billion gallons. We have the capacity as an industry to produce more than 17 billion gallons of ethanol. So if the corn is available and if the demand is there for the product, we can expand production.
Summertime E15 is still on the radar of the Renewable Fuels Association. Cooper points out President Biden's administration extended E15 sales for the summer of 2023, and they hope to be able to get that extended for the years ahead.
Yeah, it's still an issue for us. It absolutely is. We were fortunate in that this administration allowed the industry to continue selling E15 this summer. And again, they did that on the basis of E15's lower price and its ability to extend fuel supplies. So EPA this summer issued an emergency waiver that allowed the continued sale of E15. We're worried about what happens next summer, though, because, again, that was a kind of an ad hoc emergency waiver that EPA issued. So we still have work to do to clear away that barrier that prevents E15 from being sold during the summer months in most of the country. So there's a bill in Congress that was recently introduced in the Senate that we're excited about, and we're hopeful that can get passed before the end of the year, so we don't have this issue next summer and beyond. So yeah, it continues to be something we're very much focused on. We think if there is certainty that E15 can be sold 12 months, year round without any issues, we're going to see very rapid adoption of that fuel across the country.
Cooper says they are asking farmers and the public to contact their lawmakers in Washington, D.C. to voice their support for the extension in E15. The Illinois Farm Bureau also recently put out a call to action on the matter. News time, 7:15 on this Thursday. Farm Progress Show, and more Farm Progress Show coverage comes your way next on WHOW.
New trucks are arriving daily. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Yes, we have Silverados en route, regular cab 1500s in short and 8-foot beds. We also have double cabs in 1500 and HT 2500s, as well as crew cabs in gas or diesel. See our in production and in transit tab for all inventory coming. Or stop in and see us and get all the information you need. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time, 16 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Thursday. The Illinois Department of Agriculture used the Farm Progress Show as a stop on this year's grain tour. More than 24 participants from Latin America and Asia were in the state to come see the show. Director of Ag, Jerry Costello, says the tour produces revenue each year for the state's agribusiness.
Over the last 5 years, this grain tour has resulted in over $272 million in sales. One Latin American grain tour that we did not so long ago, and then one to Asia. Both of those resulted in over $60 million of sales. So these are important things, and we're bringing people from another country into the state of Illinois, connecting them with Illinois producers. These are by far most likely relationships that producers here wouldn't have had otherwise if it wasn't for this format and the ability of the Department of Agriculture to bring these folks here to the state of Illinois.
The grain tour is sponsored and operated by the Illinois Department of Agriculture, but all of the participants pay their own way to be a part of it. Case IH is showing off a new piece of equipment at this week's Farm Progress Show. RFD Radio's Rita Frazier reports from Decatur.
Everyone wants to see the latest and greatest farm equipment. Case IH has a new combine. We talked about it with Leo Bose, harvesting marketing lead with Case IH.
So we have the 160 series that we're showing here at Farm Progress Show. So we have a 6160, 7160. So we start up at the feeder house area. So we now have variable drive feeder. So we used to have just a fixed feeder. So for the corn and soybean country that we're in here, it's perfect because we can go through the field now and that feeder house will speed up and slow down. But the heart of that machine still has that axial flow rotor that we've had for 46 years, and we've built on that technology. We've now embedded AFS Harvest Command in that. So what does that mean? AFS Harvest Command automatically sets and adjusts the machine. So it doesn't take the operator out of it, but it allows that machine to look at the various sensors, about 15, and give the sensor inputs, and then change our rotor speed, cleaning fan speed. So as they go through the field, they're trying to maintain grain quality. It's setting a grain quality target. It's trying to maintain that. So for that, that's really now on the base of the unit. So the 160 series, just like we have our 250 series here, that's in the base. We've also increased grain tank capacity. So previous was 300 bushel. Now we've increased it by 50 bushel, so 350 bushels. So we keep that combine out there longer. So just run some simple math, 200 bushel average right field yield on corn. Now I can be out there a quarter more within the field, put 50 more bushel in there. So now that grain cart or truck has time to get to the field position. So it's all about productivity and efficiency. That's what the 160 series delivers.
What about availability on that combine?
You bet. Availability is currently today. They can go into the dealership and they can order the machine for next season. So Q2 of 2024 will be when we see these units hit in the field. But you can go in just like as we have today, you purchase your machine, 5 to 6 months ahead of schedule. So go into the dealership and you can purchase it today. You'll see it come in Q2 of next year.
Leo Bose, Case IH, at the 2023 Farm Progress Show in Decatur. I'm Rita Frazier for the RFD Radio Network.
A new farm bill will be late, but an Illinois congressman remains optimistic about the future of a bill in Washington, D.C. Last week, State Minority Leader Mitch McConnell told the Kentucky Farm Bureau Congress is simply out of time before the September 30th deadline, but Republican Congressman Darren LaHood remains optimistic.
I have every indication, and I'm optimistic we'll get the farm bill done by the end of this year. We may not meet the September 30th deadline. I think there's a good likelihood we can pass it in either the House or Senate. But it's vitally important for my district and the state of Illinois, Scott. Every 5 years, we reauthorize the farm bill. In the state of Illinois, agriculture and agribusiness is the number one industry in the state of Illinois. Later this week, I'll be at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, which is our showcase of agriculture in Illinois and across the country. But what the Farm Bill does is it really helps and assists farmers as it relates to crop insurance, as it relates to agricultural research, developmental funding, biofuels, which is vitally important. This kind of sets the stage for the next 5 years on how we can continue to prosper and succeed in agriculture. And again, we have some of the richest farmland in the entire world in Illinois. I'll also remind you, Scott, 11 of the last 13 years, we've led the nation in soybean production, and we've been second to Iowa. Although this last year we had stronger yields in corn, and so the Farm Bill is important. And so I look forward when we get back to DC, being fully engaged, and I'm again optimistic we'll get it passed by the end of the year.
The Farm Bill covers things like crop insurance, ag research, biofuels, and other ag sectors. John Deere has a presence at this week's Farm Progress Show. Rita Frazier has this report.
Chase Milam is with us, and Chase is a go-to-market manager for hay and forage. And what a day to have your job, Chase. This first day of Farm Progress Show, what happened today?
Yeah, so we're really excited to be here. It's a beautiful day, and we launched our new 1 series of round balers.
What does this mean to the marketplace, this baler? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, with the new 1 series, it's going to be packed with technology and also increased performance to really positively impact our customers' bottom line, and that's what we're ultimately trying to do. So let's talk to the technology a little bit. So with this round baler, it's going to come with an integrated moisture and weight sensor. So the customer or operator can view the moisture and weight of each bale as they operate in the field, make adjustments as they need. as well as that data will be transferred to John Deere Operations Center. They can then analyze that data, look at their field totals, their tonnage across the field, and make those nutrient adjustments as they need to.
And with the tough year in the hay market this year and in that space, what a year for this product.
Absolutely. You know, our customers got to be as efficient as possible 24/7. So being able to analyze this data, we've seen results of a profit increase of up to $14.50 per acre just by adjusting some of the nutrient practices.
All right, so launch today. How about product availability?
Absolutely. So product availability, dealers in your area will start ordering these September 12th, and they'll be available and being delivered in early spring of 2024.
All right, leave us with another 30 seconds of why this baler is going to kind of change things for John Deere and for the system.
Yeah, so we also introduced a new high-capacity pickup. So that's going to increase, obviously, the capacity and throughput of that round baler, making up to 80-plus additional round bales per day compared to our mega wide. So that increased performance is there for that customer as well.
You've still got time. 2 days left of the Farm Progress Show here in Decatur. Stop by, see them at John Deere. That's Chase Milam, go-to-market manager for John Deere at Farm Progress Show. I'm Rita Frazier for the RFD Radio Network.
And an ag meteorologist is taking in this week's Farm Progress Show in Decatur. DeLoss Yankee with the RFD Radio Network has this report.
BTN's ag meteorologist John Baronic. Heat last week, remarkable for the Farm Progress Show, but more heat's coming. How much heat's coming?
Well, it looks a lot like last week, honestly. Some of the models we're looking at, last week when we were looking at it and we were seeing the heat return, yeah, it looked like, we might touch 90. Now it's like, oh, shoot, we might touch 100 again. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about it for, any of the crop that still has yet a little bit yet to go. And if anybody's getting out ready to harvest, this is going to be perfect. It's going to be hot, dry weather. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to be another big heat burst.
When do you think the worst of it's going to be?
For Illinois, if I'm remembering correctly, off the top of my head, I believe it's probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday timeframe where we're going to see the peak of it. But it's not really going to go away. It's going to this dome of heat that's going to be over us is really going to be over us for most of September. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to be near 100 degrees all the way through September. Our normal temperatures drop off pretty rapidly here through the month anyway. But we should expect above normal temperatures here most of the rest of the month.
Is it more of that air you can wear kind of feeling from last week?
It definitely could be. Anytime you have this big heat dome, it usually comes with some humidity, especially we get a little bit of return flow off the Gulf of Mexico. It moves up through the plains and ends up in our area as well. So, yeah, it does look like the dew points will be up as well.
The thing that just amazed me last week was how hot and humid it felt, and yet, it just felt like the whole state was just going to unleash this big thunderstorm. We got rain Friday, some did on Saturday, but, it was so humid, and yet it didn't rain.
It was only a few select spots that actually lucked out with that. If you were in Michigan and Ohio, you got plenty of rain out of it. They were talking about 2-3 inches of rain. If you were in a spot from the Nebraska-Kansas border through Missouri and through parts of southern Iowa or southern Illinois into the Tennessee Valley, you saw a good 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain. So, but you're right. I was expecting it too. I was up in Minnesota and, it was not quite near 100 degrees, but for that long that you guys had. But I was waiting for some sort of thunderstorm, got nothing.
30 seconds. Old Farmer's Almanac says cold's coming back and predicting some snow. What do you think?
Exact opposite. With El Nino coming through, we should expect a lot warmer conditions. Unfortunately, it'll probably be a little bit dry. The storm track during El Nino tends to be across the southern U.S., and so we don't get as many storms to be moving through. So overall, warmer and drier is what I'd say.
DTN's ag meteorologist, John Baronic.
And summertime is almost over, which means there's still plenty of time for outdoor grilling, but avoid some of these major grilling mistakes. The USDA's meat and poultry hotline is 888-MP-HOTLINE. Again, that's 888-MP-HOTLINE, or go to ask.usda.gov. News brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance. Network news on the way.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. As Floridians take stock of the damage done by Hurricane Idalia, the now tropical